Yes. Yes.
It's actually 1995.
Je veux dire merci à chacun de vous d'être présent ici avec nous pour ce moment de célébration pour Claire, Hilaire, femme de 35 ans. Je lui ai écrit ce bouquin Mélodie pour Claire, ce sont des poèmes de courage, d'espoir et d'amour. Et je vous remercie d'être présents et de soient intéressés à ce qui se passe ici. Donc je leur dis merci d'avoir pris du temps aussi pour honorer ce moment avec nous. Certaines personnes auraient dû être ici, mais ou bien un voyage, ou bien des maladies, il y a des respirations respiratoires, des troubles respiratoires qui sévissent actuellement au dehors.
Some problems, some are traveling, and then some other respiratory problems.
Qu'ils ont jugé nécessaire de ne pas venir pour éviter de le répandre en leur infection.
So because of that, they see fit that to come to this invitation.
J'apprécie leur considération,
I appreciate their consideration,
mais ils sont intéressés quand même à ce que nous faisons.
but they're interested in what we're doing.
Prenons un moment de réflexion, de prière,
So let us pray.
pour demander à Dieu d'être avec nous et de bénir ce qui se passe.
Ask God to be with us and to bless what's going to happen here.
Dear Father, we thank you for your goodness and mercy. Thank you for watching over us. Thank you for everything you have done. And we thank you for allowing this moment to take place to honor your child, your servant, Claire, Hilaire. Those past 4 years, dear God, we have been on a journey, and I thank you for allowing me to capture some parts of those moments in this book, Melody for Claire. And nous espérons que, we hope that those poems can be heard at the last moment, either by some trips, some traveling obligations, either because they are sick, but I ask you to cover them, to help them. But I thank you for those that have taken time to be here with us to honor this moment. Dear Jesus, we ask you to cover those families that are affected by death today. And we know that there are people that are being buried today in the body of Christ, especially here in Florida, brother Jean Morancy. We have Pastor Richard Clark recently that died, and the funeral is for today. We want to be mindful of that and ask you to comfort and strengthen the family affected by those conditions. In Jesus, help us and bless every one of us here and those that are watching with us. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen.
All right. Thank you.
Merci.
Juste avant de commencer, pour à vous et à ceux qui nous écoutent,
To
lire l'introduction
I'm going to start reading the introduction.
qui donne une idée du mariage et ce que Dieu espère de nos relations.
To give you an idea of marriage and what God expects from us.
Right, here we go. When in the beginning God instituted marriage in the garden between Adam and Eve, he laid out what I consider as the three phases of marriage with the goal of becoming one. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. That's what he said in Genesis 2:24. This statement can be summarized in three words: leave, cleave, and weave. For men and women to reach the goal of becoming one, he gave them two principles: love and submission. Another word for submission is reverence or respect. A man ought to love his wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. Ephesians 5, verse 22 to 33. Though the love of a man for a woman starts with a physical attraction, eros in Greek, or with an intellectual connection and similarity of understanding, phileo in Greek, it must grow into agape love, which is a sacrificial love. Agape love implies the giving of self, though that causes pain and suffering. But the result brings forward into submission due to the level of trust the latter has in his leadership. Submission is a process that starts with another principle called obedience. One way, even if one does not agree, for obedience is an activity of the mind. Anyone can be coerced into obedience, which can cause frustration, passive-aggressive reactions, and bitterness. But when trust exists in a relationship, obedience is most likely to follow. As the relationship matures with time, the woman moves towards submission little by little and discovers peace of mind, a sense of being well protected under the umbrella of her husband. This also creates joy, peace, and a sense of fulfillment in life. In the quest for becoming one flesh, a pitfall to avoid is selfishness or being self-centered. And we are all selfish, going up with a vision of how we want our lives to be. When we get married, we should be willing to compromise and meet our needs halfway. Selfishness works as a virus. It can corrupt the cleaving stage of marriage. Everyone is centered to his own work, seeking self-gratification. Communication is scarce. Togetherness is absent. And therefore, progressively, one loses interest in the other, drifting. And if no weaving takes place, everyone misses out on the goal of the marriage. This can result in separation, divorce, or a miserable life until death. For over 3 decades now, my wife Claire and I have been traveling the pathway of marriage. Our relationship started because of a simple thank you note and a very early birthday card. The thank you note was from me after a nice dinner organized by some families from my parents and Claire's church in my honor during a trip to Miami to visit my parents before returning to Haiti, where I was studying medicine. Claire later would tell me that she was impressed by my thoughtfulness of writing a very nice thank you note before leaving. The early birthday card was from her, as during conversing with my parents, Claire got confused with the dates. My parents must have said 10/9 for October 9, but she understood September 9. The result was the reception of a very early birthday card from her, which deeply touched our relationship started. I still enjoy going back to the box full of our cards and letters, which still make our hearts flutter and our faces hot and flushed. That was simply exciting. Once we decided to explore life together, we learned to enjoy magnificent sunrises and melancholic sunsets, sunny days, mixed at times with cloudy and rainy ones. We always kept in mind the saying from a small plaque given by a friend, marriage is made in heaven, so are lightning and thunders. The past meant one for short. Nevertheless, despite the hardships of life, the tests and trials encountered throughout this journey, we have remained cleaved to each other more than ever before, and feel we are currently going through the weaving process. Through a handful of poems in honor of this classy lady, the one sitting right here, the love of my life, part in English and part in French, based on how the heart felt during his inspiration, I'm giving the reader a glimpse of the experiences we have shared. May this inspire you while being on your own journey. So that's the introduction of this book that you're going to purchase today, and hopefully you will travel and read. You can understand. I'm trying to find an historic card here, the one that started everything. I'll go into this. They are all numbered. This means a lot to me. This is the first card that I received from one that would become later on my wife. That's a card, of course, but I like seeing her handwriting. That sister seems really interesting. And she said somewhere, your parents told you. I could not find. Read it twice. She was to give over, so she started giving her over. Let me know when you will be back so that I can make an appointment for you. She was taking care of some situation for me.
Were you in first year residency at that time?
I was doing, brother, I was in social service.
Social service?
I was in Bangladesh.
I remember that. I remember these times.
J'ai le plaisir aussi d'avoir avec moi. They have been here in my church before. I appreciate their friendship and the support that they bring to this church. I could bring you to so many things here. There is one card that I would like to share with you that happened after we get married. And he said, to my husband, I love that card. Married. What year? What year? I don't know. But that was in the beginning of our relationship. Then she wrote to sign, she signed to you, my darling, je soumets you, love your wife Claire. You will see in the book one poem called The Iron's Thread. And in this poem, I told you that we have our code language.
Je vous dis que nous
We
avons...
can be talking about serious things here and you here around, you won't understand because we have our own language.
Nous avons notre code à nous.
Now, when she tell me, now this is something that happened that I learned after.
C'est quelque chose qui est arrivé.
When we were just friends writing one to another,
Tu as mis
sometimes you write, je t'admire.
parfois elle écrit mal.
Et je me disais pourquoi elle m'admire tant.
C'est vrai, je pense que c'est moi.
Plus tard, quand nous sommes mariés,
Et après, get married,
elle me dit que quand tu recevais ces cartes, à chaque fois que tu voyais, je t'admire,
it's called anytime you see I admire
et
you.
c'est parce que je voulais te dire, je t'aime,
It's because I wanted
mais
to
je ne pouvais pas le dire encore.
say
Alors, elle utilise cette expression,
Si elle veut me dire je t'adore, I love you.
but this is an expression that we use only for God.
C'est une question que nous utilisons seulement pour Dieu.
So instead of saying, je t'adore,
Il me dit je t'adore.
so we use je te soumire.
So, nous utilisons je te soumis.
So whenever I say je te soumire you, that's when it's a love that goes, you know, well, I feel like I want to stay in front of you and remind you.
C'est très important de rester avec toi et t'adore.
So this book that you've seen here is not just by accident that it is written,
Ce que vous voyez ici, c'est pas un livre que j'ai écrit par hasard.
but it's a accumulation of 35 years of a relationship
C'est une compilation de 35 ans de relation
that goes to different phases.
qui est passée à plusieurs phases.
We were crazy when we were dating.
Nous étions complètement fous quand on l'autre.
Especially we were separated, or her in Miami, and I was in Haiti.
Spécialement, était en Miami, voilà, ici.
There was something in the hospital whenever she called, and I would say, well, Miami is here for you.
Parce qu'à Miami, ce qu'elle appelait, puis on disait, ouais,
I think it was among those that would tell me that.
c'est de ce dont
She knew all the numbers of the hospital.
elle connaissait tous les numéros de l'hôpital.
I was in internal medicine,
Elle faisait la médecine interne.
but sometimes she will call in the service of surgery,
Parfois, elle appelait le service d'opération.
and they had to transfer that call to me.
On devait transférer son opération.
So after a certain time, they knew that I had a special call that would come once in a while from Miami. And once I was not on call, but I needed to sleep because the night after I will be on call. She called me, it was midnight. When we put the phone down, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. We have talked for 4 hours. There was no WhatsApp at that time. You paid for this call. So I can tell you that was a call that cost us over $700, $900. That's the story of the love that you are witnessing today. She told me that she enjoyed when I write. I believe one time I was 25 pages. That was a letter that it took me 3 days to write that letter. She was the happiest person at that time. Because she loved my writing. Then here's a little book that I will cherish always. That's a courtesy of one of my spiritual daughters, Sister Rachel. That was 1 year after her accident. And for my wedding anniversary, they kind of, it was a half surprise because I have to prepare her and I have to prepare myself. And they have to decorate the house for me to do because we couldn't go out. time of COVID.
C'était un moment
They took some pictures,
Let me see if they know who it is.
and I cherish this.
de
She could eat through her mouth, and she still can. But I was so grateful that she was still alive. I could see her, I could talk to her, I could touch her, and I'm still grateful that she's here with me. I thank God because I have this privilege that I have to take care of God's daughter. You know, if she's God's daughter, so that makes God my father-in-law. So I cannot get in trouble with my father-in-law. So I take good care of his daughter. She has to take good care of me too because I'm the son of God. And God happened to be her father-in-law too.
Dieu est aussi son beau-père.
You know, relationships sometimes you don't understand things.
Des fois, on ne comprenait pas les choses dans une relation.
So that's why you need to be patient one with another.
C'est pourquoi on doit être patient.
Because how can I be at the same time, God can be at the same time my father and my father-in-law.
Comment Dieu est à la fois mon père et mon beau-père.
And it's the same thing for her.
C'est la même chose pour elle.
And God wants us to have a wonderful life.
Moi, je veux que nous ayons.
So that's the reason of this book, to inspire people
C'est la raison de ce livre pour inspirer les gens,
to learn how to care one for another.
pour apprendre la relation l'un et l'autre.
In good times,
Pourtant,
in bad times.
comme en mauvais temps.
You're going to have good days and bad days in any
On
relationship.
va avoir de bons jours, de mauvais jours.
So build memories,
Et la Dieu des mémoires,
nice souvenirs.
de beaux souvenirs.
So when the tough time comes, you can take refuge in those good
Quand le moment
souvenirs.
difficile arrive, vous pouvez avoir refuge dans ces souvenirs.
We have plenty of good souvenirs.
Nous avons plein de souvenirs. Bons
Because
souvenirs.
we travel together a lot.
Nous avons voyagé beaucoup ensemble.
We visited 3 continents.
Nous avons visité 3 continents,
America,
l'Amérique,
Europe,
l'Europe,
Africa.
l'Afrique.
We visited so many countries together.
Nous avons visité beaucoup de pays ensemble.
So that allowed us to build beautiful souvenirs.
Ça nous permet de bâtir beaucoup de souvenirs.
And that allowed me to find my source of inspiration.
Ça nous permet d'avoir aussi ma source d'inspiration.
And then as we evolve in our relationship,
Et comme nous évoluons dans notre relation,
we reach a point where we don't get into, argument anymore.
nous avons atteint un moment où nous ne faisons pas de discussion.
Because we understand that sentence that said, we can agree to disagree,
Nous voyons cette phrase qui dit on peut être d'accord,
we
on peut pas être
we
d'accord.
agree to disagree without being disagreeable.
On ne peut pas être d'accord, mais sans être désagréable.
So we might not see something the same way,
On peut ne pas voir quelque chose de la même manière.
but that does not prevent me from holding her hands.
Ça n'empêche pas à tenir sa main.
That does not prevent her from smiling to me,
Ça n'empêche pas à me sourire.
and we continue our journey together.
Et nous continuons notre voyage ensemble.
There are a lot of things that I could tell you here today,
Il y a beaucoup de choses que je voudrais vous dire aujourd'hui.
but I want to say thank you for coming.
Je veux vous dire merci de venir.
I wanted to give you a little backstory beyond this book.
Je veux vous donner une histoire arrière.
So when you hold this book in your hands,
Quand vous tenez ce livre dans votre main,
it's not just a simple book,
c'est pas un livre simple.
but I could write a story behind every poem here.
Je pouvais écrire l'histoire après chaque poème.
Before signing this book, I'm going to read 2 poems for you.
Avant de signer ce livre, je vais vous lire 2 poèmes.
One in English
Un en anglais,
and another one in French.
et en anglais et l'autre en français.
Here is the one in English.
Voici ce qui est en français.
The book just opened on this one, I'm going to read it.
Je Je vais lire sur le banc.
The title is Missing You.
Le titre, c'est Missing You, je vous demande.
I miss you every passing day. I miss you in whichever way. I miss you. I miss you when I'm in the mood to play or when I have something to say. Once in a while I wonder why my face looks like a rainy sky. My spirit seems to be cloudy and my heart somewhat so heavy. It doesn't take much to reminisce on our so meaningful journey. Like in a puzzle, every piece and essential role seems to play. How tender some memories can be, like those of an adolescent, tended with some melancholy, nevertheless iridescent. We'll never play checkers again while enjoying some of your meals. If you have been to my house, you will know playing checkers was a ritual between my wife and I. I didn't know how to play that game. She taught me.
Je ne sais pas comment jouer ce jeu-là et elle l'a enseigné.
She beat me so many times,
Elle a gagné plusieurs fois.
and all the time that made her feel so happy.
Et puis ça m'a rendu vraiment heureux.
I observed how she played,
J'ai observé comment elle a joué.
and then until I start getting my own skills.
Parce que j'ai commencé à avoir
When she beats me and I didn't get to make the head, if you know how to play Chinese checkers, she called that salito sale.
Quand elle de base, ça s'appelle salito salé.
That's an expression that she has invented.
C'est une expression qu'elle a inventée.
That's when, that's when they say in a basketball game that they have a blowout.
Basketball.
One team can be 125, so that's a blowout.
L'équipe peut être à 100, ou même à 25.
The equivalent in our language is a salito sale.
L'équivalent dans l'autre langue, c'est salito salé.
I had many salito sale
J'ai eu beaucoup de salito salé
before I could beat her.
avant de pouvoir gagner.
And sometimes I will lose 6-0, and that will get her out forward.
Parfois, on se passe 0.
So you understand that I miss those moments.
Vous comprenez que j'ai raté vraiment ces moments.
And she was such a chef, a good cook.
Elle était vraiment comme le.
You know this. Whenever my colleagues come in Orlando, all of them, they know if they come to my house, they're going to have this chef to cook.
Yeah, crap.
Yeah,
crap.
We'll never play checkers again while enjoying some of your meals. We never come to friends that make us a certain way feel. The last year we took to travel has really marked me forever. It propelled us to a level where again we found each other. Labadie and the Bahamas produce a certain tenderness, Marian class and Barbados, and feel I wish so many things, and you I did not expect such ending, yet our God remains in control. Our God remains in control. That's one of the English poems.
C'est là le poème.
I'm going to pick one in French,
Tu vas en choisir un en français.
and then we start. Il y a ce poème intitulé Le courant du temps.
So this poem entitled Le courant du temps.
Le temps comme un long fleuve passe, emportant tout sur son passage. Mais les souvenirs sont tenaces, perdurant comme vieil adage. Ah, pourquoi cette nostalgie qui voile mes yeux et mon cœur? Pourquoi cette douce élégie qui me remplit tant de langueur? Le temps qui fait tarir les pleurs n'efface point les cicatrices. On peut bien toujours dans le cœur trouver du passé des indices. Comment survivre et s'adapter quand les remous de cette vie continuent de nous balloter comme un bateau les débris? On se plie sous le poids des ans et l'un après l'autre s'en vont, ne plus tant de rêves d'enfants qui jamais plus ne reviendront. Le temps aussi inexorable au visage cruel parfois. Es-tu pour de bon incapable de réfléchir certaines fois? Je peux réprimer mes sanglots, mais au plus profond de mon être coulent mes pleurs à flot que je ne laisse point paraître. Poursuis donc ton chemin au temps, mais je le sais, le jour viendra où là-haut dans le firmament, ton courant plus ne m'atteindra. Thank you for your attention.
Merci de votre attention.
I didn't want just to sign the book and give them to you,
Je ne veux pas seulement signer le livre et le donner,
but I wanted to give you the little feedback story behind those poems that you're going to read.
je voulais vous peindre l'histoire du livre que vous avez acheté.
I want to say a special thanks to Mary.
Je dis un merci spécial à Marie.
Mary is my wife's nurse.
Marie, c'est l'infirmière.
We go each month to Orlando Health,
Nous allons faire voir à Orlando Health.
and she gave her the dates for cancer.
Et elle lui donne la piqûre dont elle a besoin pour le cancer.
Mary is a special person.
Mary, c'est une personne spéciale.
She is so connected to my wife.
Elle va la connecter à votre femme.
Anytime she goes,
Chaque fois qu'elle va,
she might be sleeping,
peut-être qu'elle dort.
she might be in a certain mode, but whenever she sees Mary, her face, and she starts talking,
Elle commence à parler.
I have to guess what she's saying.
Et tu vas deviner ce qu'elle dit.
But one thing, when she sees Mary, she gets out of herself because she communicates so well.
Mais une fois, quand elle dit Marie, elle se sent à l'aise parce qu'elle peut communiquer avec elle.
Alors là, je vais m'arrêter. Je t'en prie, Marie.
Ça va stop here.
Who's Mary?
Je veux bien vous remercier d'avoir payé attention à une partie de notre histoire.
So I want to thank you for paying attention to both our story.
J'ai pris la liberté d'ouvrir certaines pages de ma vie,
I was free to open some pages of my life,
beautiful pages of mine.
wonderful pages of our life.
Je remercie Dieu toujours d'avoir placé ma femme dans ma vie.
I thank God always I placed my wife in my life.
And I feel that I love her more today than I ever loved her before.
Pour moi, je l'aime beaucoup plus que je l'ai jamais aimé.
I have no problem spending all my time with her.
Je fais problème de passer longtemps avec elle.
We are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Nous sommes ensemble 24 sur 24.
And that's the best place where I can be.
Et c'est la meilleure place où je peux être.
I always thank God for putting us together.
Je dis Dieu, je dis merci à vous toujours.
I will never be the person that I am today if I didn't have her contribution in my life.
Je serais parce que je suis aujourd'hui sans sa contribution dans ma vie.
We butt heads at times.
Parfois c'est difficile à trouver le mot.
We rub against another.
On se frôle l'un à l'autre.
The result is making us move toward one another.
Le résultat, c'est de rendre poli.
We are like two stones that find themselves in the midst of a stream.
Nous sommes comme deux pierres qui se trouvent dans une rivière.
The current makes us forces to rub against one another,
Le courant nous force à nous frotter l'un l'autre.
but it's for a good cause.
Et c'est pour une bonne cause.
And today we feel like we are melted in one another.
Et aujourd'hui, nous nous sentons fondus l'un l'autre.
Je pense que c'est ce que Dieu voulait de nos relations.
That's what God wanted in our relationship.
One last thing to mention,
Une chose à mentionner.
I have a thrill in my life when I received my first telegram.
I was so happy when I received that. Je suis vraiment content que j'ai reçu un télégramme.
Through the years, I know that telegram is associated with bad news.
Après les années, j'ai appris que le télégramme est associé à de mauvaises nouvelles.
But my first and the only telegram that I received in my life came from her.
Et mon premier et le seul télégramme que j'ai reçu, c'était d'elle.
I was still in Haiti.
J'étais encore en Haïti.
She sent me a telegram.
Et ils m'ont envoyé un télégramme.
There were two words
Deux mots.
in that telegram.
Il y avait deux mots dans ce télégramme.
Je t'aime.
I love you.
And she signed Je t'aime.
And elle a signé je t'aime.
When we met, our names have changed.
Quand on s'est rencontrés, il y a eu un changement de nom.
She used to call me Joe Claire,
Il m'appelait Claire,
Joe from Joel,
Joe de Joël,
and the Claire is from her.
Claire, elle.
And I call her Jopette.
Je l'appelle Jopette.
The Joe is from me,
Jo, c'est de moi.
and the pet is from her.
Et Pette, elle.
Because she had a nickname, Chopette, so right.
Dans le livre, vous comprendrez.
My heart is full, I could tell you love stories, but I sit down.
Mon cœur rempli de métier en plus.
I don't want to abuse of your kindness and your hospitality.
Je ne vais pas vous abuser entre gentillesse.
Okay, so I'm ready now. Whoever wants to be the first to come and get their book, that's fine. I do what she said, okay?
So thank you everybody for coming again.
Merci à vous tous d'être venus.
Your presence here means a lot to
Votre
us
présence
there.
vous dire beaucoup.
And we often say we don't give flowers when the person has passed away.
So, nous disons toujours, on ne faut pas des fleurs quand la personne est morte.
You have Hilaire here.
C'est à cause d'elle qu'on a fait rien avec nous.
So I truly appreciate from the bottom of our heart that you took time out of your busy schedule to be here.
Très fort de mon cœur, j'ai apprécié le fait que vous avez pris du temps pour être ici avec nous.
We pray that the Lord continue to richly bless you.
Nous prions que le Seigneur continue à nous bénir.
At this time, we're all going to form a line.
Et à ce moment, on va former une ligne.
Okay, this young man here, sorry, come and stand by. This young girl here, that's my daughter,
Cette fille-là, c'est ma fille.
one of my spiritual daughters.
L'une de mes filles spéciales.
She adopted me as a father and adopted her as my daughter.
Il m'a adopté comme son père et moi, je l'ai adopté comme ma fille.
And it's genuine,
Et c'est authentique.
and I'm thankful for that.
Je crois que ce tien-là, tu révèles, c'est son mari,
That's my son.
c'est mon fils.
I love him.
Je l'aime.
He's been so good to my father when my father was living his last days.
Il a vraiment montré de la bonté envers mon père quand il faisait ses derniers jours.
And God has given his life,
Pareil tout dans sa vie.
and right now he's my direct assistant.
Et maintenant, elle est mon assistant direct.
I have many people helping me,
J'ai beaucoup de gens qui m'aident.
but in my absence, this man here is my assistant that can talk on my name.
En mon absence, cet homme-là, c'est mon direct assistant qui peut parler en mon nom.
I love them.
Je les aime,
I respect them.
je les
I
respecte.
appreciate everything that they do here for us.
J'apprécie tout ce qu'ils font ici pour moi.
I have to introduce this one that
Ça fait déjà 16 ans que je suis ici.
this man has always stood by me
Cet homme se tient toujours entre moi
and allow us to be a bilingual church.
et me permet d'être une église.
People, some speak English, some don't speak English, and they speak Creole, so we are curious of that.
Nous faisons cela parce qu'il y a des gens qui parlent le français, il y a des gens qui parlent l'anglais. Nous devons avoir une considération.
And today they are here helping us.
Et aujourd'hui, ils sont là. Nous
All
aidons.
right, I give the mic back to you.
So again, as you, everybody should have a raffle ticket if you already.
Si vous avez déjà payé à la porte,
As you proceed forward, we will give the raffle ticket to Brother Hilaire. Well, I'll take it and then you'll keep the other copy.
c'est ce qu'on va faire. On va recevoir le ticket de raffle, si on peut dire.
At the end, you'll pull one, and whoever is the winner will have a chance to win one of his 5 books that he has already written.
Et à la fin, on fait le tirage au sort. Si vous êtes le gagnant, vous allez recevoir un livre, le livre qu'il a écrit.
If you don't win,
Si vous ne gagnez pas,
don't be sad,
ne soyez pas tristes.
because we have plenty of it for sale.
On a beaucoup de livres à vendre.
So you can go home with a copy.
On peut toujours acheter un copie. On peut faire le zèle.
You take cash.
On reçoit dans aujourd'hui les éléments.
They all wanted to be here and surround us for
On est
this
tous
special
là
moment,
pour nous supporter.
but they are all sick.
Ils sont tous malades.
One had COVID,
Il y en a un avec le Covid,
he still has a cold,
et toujours la grippe.
and those things are contagious when one has it. The whole family is sick, so
C'est
that's
juste
why we're not here.
contagieuse.
But some of them told me, we're gonna put a mask and come.
Quelques-uns m'ont dit bon, on va le cacher,
appreciate you not coming too close of her too.
So, je vous apprécie, vous, de ne pas vous mettre tout près d'elle.
You can, greet from afar.
Vous la saluer de loin.
But remember, her immune system is not what it used to be.
Son système immunitaire n'est pas le même. Son système immunitaire n'est pas le même. Auparavant.
Too much talking.
On le tourne.
I don't know if it's the position or just.
Bonjour tout le monde. Je voudrais pas laisser passer tout ça sans exprimer à Joël ce que vraiment, ce qui se passe dans mon cœur là aujourd'hui. Je ne veux pas vous faire attendre trop longtemps. J'aimerais vous dire que c'est pas quand on entend dans la littérature parler de Roméo et Juliette, Tristan et Isolde, qu'on a vécu un grand amour. Parce que là, j'étais à la résidence et puis c'est là que tout ça a commencé en Haïti. Et puis, je crois que maintenant, après toutes ces années-là, ils sont toujours là. C'est là qu'on a vu, quand on dit que c'est pour le meilleur et pour le pire, c'est pour le meilleur. Parce que là, il a vécu ce qu'il a vu. Même si ils ont des problèmes, mais c'est toujours là. C'est quelque chose que le cœur, dans le cœur.
Something from the heart.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Love you.
Awesome. And at this time, you can stand up and
I want to say something.
Okay.
I want to say something about my little brother. We grew up together. Petit frère, on a déjà ensemble. We grew up together in Haiti. On a déjà ensemble en Haïti. C'est vraiment, c'est l'un des hommes sérieux. It's one of the serious men in Haiti. Thanks. And I would like to give you one of the story of Joel. Je voulais vous donner une histoire de Joël. To attend medical school in Haiti, you have to have, like we say, a big man. C'est pas man. Et quand vous êtes ici, il faut avoir un parent. But where we were in Carrefour, we didn't have any or anybody like that. You went to take the exam. Vous allez prendre l'examen. A medical exam to get into the medical school. L'examen médical. Everybody we know that nothing can happen. The dean sent for him because of his result of the test. On pensait que rien n'allait se passer. Le doyen sent for him to come all the way to Carrefour looking for Joel because his score was so high. Le chercher parce que sa moyenne était vraiment haute. They didn't want to pass out on somebody like him. On va passer à côté quelqu'un de ce genre, de ce calibre. De ce calibre, yeah. So, and then he was always a good Christian. Il était toujours un bon chrétien. And I'm so proud of him. He has a medical degree, but he chose to be a minister. So what he's doing now is he doesn't care about money or anything like that. He wants to be a pastor. Very pastor. So what he's doing is because he's doing it for God. Ce qu'il fait, il le fait pour Dieu. Et for you. Not for anything like any reward, financial reward or anything, because that is mission. C'est sa mission. And I'm so proud of you, Joel.
This man took 1 hour to be here today.
Yeah.
Who got an ad?